Good afternoon, Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Neil Manthorpe, one of our regular contributors, born here but left as a baby, and really, does a lot of his work in South Africa. So we've got to kind of get a neutral's take on the Ashes from Neil Manthorpe later on. Andy Brassel guides us around Europe. Mark Donaldson, a commentator and presenter for ESPN over in the States, is a huge Hearts fan, and we're going to look at where they're at after that win against Rangers yesterday, and can they go all the way in a year when the old firm aren't quite at it, although Celtic did get their first win under Wilfred Nancy yesterday. But we're going through the Premier League weekend, and Newcastle 2, Chelsea 2, on the face of it, a very good result, certainly coming from 2-0 down away at Newcastle.
Oh, yeah.
Newcastle throwing points away from a winning position. I think it's 11 points now, so Eddie Howe not happy with that. I think you had a right to be upset about one or two of the refereeing decisions, Andy. Did you? Where did you stand on that?
You know, the one with Chalabar and
it's not shoulder to shoulder, is it? Anywhere else on the pitch, as they say, let's do the cliche.
The only thing
that's a free.
I don't think he was getting the ball. The penalty would have been very harsh. But
Danny, where are you on that one?
If we're giving penalties for that, Paul, and I know I take your point about the other parts of the pitch, but the other parts of the pitch don't have the same punishment attached to them, do they, as a direct shot at the goal. So I'm glad he didn't give it for the good of the game overall, but the real issue here is consistency, isn't it? Again, sometimes they get given, sometimes they don't get given. Andy, I don't blame you for going to bed at half-time, because that first half, I thought Newcastle, that was the best all-round display by a Premier League team since Sunderland last week against Newcastle. It was. They were brilliant. They harried and they harassed. They played brilliant dynamic football in Voltemade. They've got one of the signings of the season. And I honestly thought, much as I admire the way, Chelsea's new young team, that I thought there's no way they're coming back from this. Of course, half-time, as so often, breaks momentum in football matches. And, a great goal by Reece James, and suddenly, if I'd known, Andy, I would have texted you to get you up.
Yeah. What about the Garnacho?
It was Harry Brooks' reverse sweep.
Yeah, that's what did for Andy and the wallet. But what about the Garnacho challenge? I mean, it's not pretty, is it?
No, it wasn't great, but it's one of those. Look, some weeks you get them, some weeks you don't. Shouldn't be like that, though. You get sawn off. We've been sawn off enough.
I would rather be sawn off by 3 officials than someone watching it on the telly and then sawing you off again, wouldn't you?
Look, we don't need to go through the evidence anymore. The evidence is there in a great big heap that VAR has failed. It has failed the game utterly. It has failed the fans utterly. And only its complete removal can reverse what we're going through now, when can't celebrate goals, and people like us are forced on a Monday and a Sunday to continue to discuss the inconsistency of the technology assistant.
I think now we would cut officials more slack if we said tomorrow we're not having it. We'd go into games and we'd say, ref got that wrong there. It's annoying, but blimey.
That would last for 2 weeks,
I don't want to go back to VAR. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's right.
But, I mean, I don't know, have we not learnt our lesson? You'd like to think we've all learnt our lesson. Managers would kick it off. They'd be the first one saying, why did we get rid of VAR? And then when they don't get sawn off, it's, well, who needs VAR?
I mean, it's so interesting. I don't know there's another sport, and I follow quite a few high-profile team sports here myself, where the officials are the story every week.
Yeah.
There you see mistakes in the NFL, you see mistakes in rugby occasionally, but they're so few and far between. Or is it just that there's an acceptance? But, no one can tell me that the stakes are any higher in the Premier League than they are in, say, the NFL.
No.
But the officials are allowed to get on with it. And afterwards, nobody spends their whole time talking about one issue. And I know it's different in soccer because the goals are so rare, and if any of them are influenced by the officials, they've essentially won the match or lost the match.
Yeah.
But look, just to say it one more time, probably my last time of 2025, VAR has failed, and we should get rid of it. There's a lot of reasons why they won't, not least a load of people's livings, which I understand, but it is wrong. It is all wrong for the game.
I think it's a long lease on that warehouse at Stockley Park.
Yes.
You know,
I may have suggested.
Don't tell them, Paul.
Yeah,
let them carry on doing it, but just don't tell them.
Don't tell them they're not plugged in.
Absolutely.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be a very good idea.
There saying, "Can't hear you, John. Can't hear you."
I may have suggested that Robert Sanchez wasn't good enough to play for Chelsea in goal, but
you want to take that back?
Well, you have to say
the first save from Voltemada was great.
He's really improved this season. His distribution. He still occasionally passes it to the opposition, but that was a great ball to João Pedro, and so that. In the end, I think they deserved a point.
It was a good fight back. Bournemouth won, Burnley won. I was listening to the Moose at the Vitality on my way to the Spurs game with my youngest lad, and he was saying this is anti-football. Burnley are terrible. And as soon as Bournemouth score, that's it. And I was thinking he's absolutely right. Bournemouth scored, and of course, said to my youngest lad, well, that is it. They ain't going to get a goal back, are they? And I get out the car. Sure enough, they have. They've found a way. So fair play to Scott Parker and Burnley, because I wouldn't have put them down for anything on the back of going one behind.
Yes, but, Paul, this was one of those games where something had to give. Burnley's 7-match losing streak, or Bournemouth's, and this is the clue here, Bournemouth's 8-game stretch without a win.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. Any normal human being would think that the way Bournemouth have been for most of the last 2 or 3 years under Iraola, they would just walk away with that game once Burnley went behind. But Bournemouth are not in good form. They're finding it very, very hard to win football matches. And, Burnley did some... Scott Parker is trying his hardest, bless him. They played an old-fashioned 4-4-2, which I knew was coming back into fashion because things change all the time, with Kyle Walker playing in midfield. So all good stuff. But, that's the first point. So Burnley snapped their streak. Something had to give. And, I understand the belief that Bournemouth would then run away with it, but they're just not playing very well themselves. They're not playing badly. They're just not very good.
They're still creating chances.
Here's an old reference for you. They are the Horace Batchelor 11 this season.
Oh, okay.
They've drawn more games than anybody else. They've drawn their last.
He was a pools expert from the 1950s, wasn't he? Or
his infra-draw method.
Oh, okay, right. Have we got Mark Pugh on later?
I bet you Danny remembers it from Radio Luxembourg.
Andy, bless you, bless your flinty little heart. I don't. You've gone too far, man.
Andy's come up with a reference. Breaking news here on talkSPORT that even Danny Kelly can't get.
No.
I'll have to get Martin Kelly.
Though I enjoyed Radio Luxembourg very much. Yeah, very good.
We're going to have a chat with Mark Pugh, the foodie footballer, the former Bournemouth midfielder, and could they get sucked into a bit of trouble? I doubt it. But
there's too much dross at the bottom, isn't there?
Yeah, that's a high praise indeed there for the Premier League. Brighton 0, Sunderland 0. Two teams, a bit of AFCON, bit of injury.
It was the Andy Jacobs hate watch derby. I wanted both of them to lose.
Both bit depleted. No Welbeck for Brighton makes a big difference. Van Ecker wasn't playing, wasn't he? So it was it sounds like a bit of a dog with fleas. This I only saw very limited highlights, like most people.
Except again, sorry, Paul, I keep doing this to you.
Yeah.
There were 41 shots at goal in the game.
Really?
There was absolute attack.
Match of the day couldn't find all of them.
No, there were 30 attempts.
Match of the day. Match of the day. To its, it lives on goals, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There weren't goals in this game, but there was lots and lots of pretty bad football resulting in chances. Brighton had both their centre halves missing and their centre forward. Sunderland have been absolutely stripped bare by the AFCON.
Yeah.
But there were lots and lots of chances. I think if you were in a stadium, it would be quite a fun watch.
Yeah.
And both goalkeepers, and we know how good both Verbruggen and Roofs really are.
Yeah.
When called upon. Now I said there were a lot of shots. Many of them were, how should we put it, wayward.
Yes.
But when they were between the sticks, the goalkeepers were far too good for them. And it's one of those games. In any other sport, a 0-0 it must be terrible. It wasn't quite as terrible as the scoreline suggests.
I saw a stat in the Sun today, since 17-18 when Brighton came up, they've had more goalless draws than any other team.
Really?
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, would you have thought that? I don't think of them as a sort of nil-all specialist.
In nearly 250 years, that really is a lot, isn't it?
So I think that's us done, Danny.
It's done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it as always, chatting to you throughout the year. Have a fine Christmas, and we'll catch up with you in 2026.
Absolutely. Happy Christmas to you two and your families, and to everyone listening as well.
Brilliant.
Enjoy it.
All the best, Danny. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye, man.
Danny Kelly, I'm sure, back with us in the new year. His partner in crime on Trans Europe Express, and the podcast is available now if you missed the show last night. If you just want a little bite-sized roundup, then stick around, because Andy Brassel will be joining us to look at some of the big and a heartwarming story from the world of Portuguese football will bring you as well. Plus, an Ashes inquest with Neil Manthorpe, bit of a neutral's take on it, and Mark Donaldson on the mighty Jambos and their title challenge.